The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and broken dreams. Hansel Harris stood frozen outside room 347, his hand trembling against the cold metal of the door handle. Through this small window, he could see her Serena Page lying motionless in the white sheets, tubes snaking from her arms, monitors beeping their mechanical rhythm. Her dark hair, once so full of life, spread limply across the pillow. Her face, pale as winter snow, bore none of the warmth he remembered. This couldn't be happening. Not like this. Not now, Mr. Harris. A nurse touched his shoulder gently. She's been asking for you. The words hit him like a physical blow. After everything, after all the silence, the unanswered calls, the returned letters, she was asking for him now. He pushed the door open, and the beeping grew louder. Each sound felt like an accusation. Serena's eyes fluttered open. Those eyes, God, those eyes that had once looked at him like he hung the moon and stars. Now they were dulled by pain and medication. But when they found his face, something flickered there. Recognition, regret, love. Hansel, her voice was barely a whisper, cracked and fragile. He crossed the room in 3 strides, falling to his knees beside her bed. His hands hovered over hers, afraid to touch, afraid this moment was as fragile as she looked. Serena, his voice broke. 10 years of words lodged in his throat, choking him. Don't. She lifted one hand weakly, and he caught it, pressing it against his cheek. Her skin was cold, too cold. Don't say anything yet, just listen. Tears streamed down his face, hot and unchecked. The doctors said, they said you collapsed at work. Stage 4. Serena, why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you tell me? A sad smile crossed her lips. Would you have answered if I called? The question gutted him. Because she was right? For 3 years, he'd blocked her number, returned her letters unopened, built walls so high around his heart that not even her memory could scale them. That's not fair, he choked out. No, she agreed, her eyes glistening. None of this is fair. Not what I did to you. Not what you believed. Not this. She gestured weakly at the tubes, the machines, the evidence of her dying body. But we're past fair now, aren't we? Serena, I need to tell you the truth, Hansel. Before it's too late. She coughed, her whole body convulsing. Blood speckled her lips. No. He grabbed her hand tighter, as if he could anchor her to this world through sheer force of will. You're going to be fine. You're going to get better. And we'll talk then. We have time. We don't. Her voice was firm despite its weakness. And you need to know. You need to know what really happened that night. 3 days earlier, Hansel had been standing in the same position for 20 minutes. Staring at the invitation in his hand, Marcus Chen and Rebecca Walsh request the pleasure of your company at their wedding celebration. He should throw it away. Marcus had been his best friend once, before everything fell apart. Before Serena. Before that night that had destroyed everything he thought he knew about love and loyalty. You going to stare at that all day, or actually make a decision? Hansel looked up to find his business partner, James, leaning against the doorframe of his office. The 40-story view of Seattle stretched behind him, all glass and steel and cold achievement. I'm not going, Hansel said flatly, because she'll be there. It wasn't a question. Everyone knew. Everyone had always known. Hansel Harris and Serena Page, the couple that had burned so bright they'd scorched everyone around them when they crashed, because I have nothing to say to any of them. James walked in, closing the door behind him. It's been 3 years, man. Maybe it's time. Time for what? Hansel's voice rose. Time to forgive the woman who slept with my brother. Time to shake hands with Marcus, who helped her hide it. Time to pretend that night didn't happen. Time to hear her side of the story. I saw the photos, James. I saw them together. I read the messages. What more is there to hear? James sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. I know what you saw. But did you ever stop to ask yourself why? Why would a woman who loved you more than her own life suddenly... Don't. Hansel held up a hand. Don't defend her to me. You weren't there. You didn't see the way she looked at me when I confronted her. She didn't even deny it. Did you give her a chance to? The question hung in the air. Hansel turned away, looking out at the Seattle skyline. Somewhere out there, Serena was living her life. He'd heard she'd moved to Portland. Started over. He hoped she was happy. He hoped she was miserable. He hoped he'd never have to see her again. His phone rang, Marcus's name flashing on the screen. Against his better judgment, he answered. Hansel. Marcus's voice was strained. I know you got the invitation. I know you probably won't come, but then why are you calling? A pause because Serena's in the hospital, and she's asking for you. The world tilted. Back to the present. Tell me, Hansel said, his voice hoarse as he sat beside Serena's hospital bed. Tell me everything. Serena closed her eyes, gathering strength. When she opened them again, they were clear despite the pain, focused with an intensity that reminded him of the woman he'd fallen in love with a decade ago. Do you remember the night we met? She asked. Serena, humor me, please. He did remember. God, he remembered every detail. It was at Marcus's birthday party, 10 years ago. You were wearing a blue dress, and you were arguing with someone about climate change, a ghost of a smile. You thought I was pretentious. I thought you were the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. You told me I was wrong. You were wrong. She laughed, then coughed. He helped her take a sip of water, their fingers brushing. The touch sent electricity through him. Even now, even here, you were so arrogant, she continued. So sure of yourself. I wanted to hate you. The feeling was mutual, but then you smiled at me. Really smiled. And I was lost. Serena, why are we? Because I need you to remember, she interrupted. I need you to remember who we were before everything went wrong. We were happy, Hansel. For 7 years, we were so happy, he couldn't argue. They had been. They'd been the couple everyone envied. The couple who finished each other's sentences, who communicated with just a glance, who made love feel easy and inevitable. We were going to get married, he said quietly. You proposed on the pier. It was raining. You said yes before I even finished asking. I knew what you were going to say. She squeezed his hand weakly. I always knew with you. Then how? The question exploded from him. How could you throw it all away? How could you sleep with Ryan? He was my brother. Serena. Pain flashed across her face, but not guilt. Something else. Something that looked like anger? I didn't, she said clearly. He jerked back. Don't lie to me, not now. You saw what someone wanted you to see. Her eyes blazed with sudden fierce intensity. I never touched Ryan, not once. Not ever. The photos were fake. The messages were sent from a clone phone. Your face when I confronted you, you didn't deny it. Because you wouldn't let me speak. Her voice cracked and more blood appeared on her lips. But she pushed forward. You came into our apartment, threw those photos on the table, and told me we were done. You said you never wanted to see me again. You said, she sobbed. You said, I disgusted you. Hansel felt his world shifting beneath him. You could have fought back. You could have. I tried. Tears streamed down her face. I called you 73 times in the first week. I came to your office, your apartment. I sent letters. I showed up at Marcus's place, at your mother's house, anywhere I thought you might be. And every time you wouldn't see me, wouldn't talk to me. After 6 months, I gave up. No, he shook his head. No, you're rewriting history. You, ask Marcus, she said. Ask James, ask anyone who was actually there. I never stopped trying to tell you the truth. You just refused to listen. The room spun. Could it be true? Could he have been so blind, so consumed by his anger and hurt that he'd refused to see? Why? He whispered. Why would someone do that to us? Serena's expression darkened. Because someone wanted you, and I was in the way. Chapter 2, The Truth Beneath the Lies. Victoria. The name fell from Hansel's lips like poison. Serena nodded weakly. Your business partner's daughter. The woman who'd been in love with you since college. Hansel's mind raced back. Victoria Chen, brilliant, beautiful, ambitious. She joined his and James's company 2 years into his relationship with Serena. Had been nothing but professional. Had even seemed to befriend Serena, inviting her to lunch, to networking events. No, he said. Victoria wouldn't. Victoria did. Serena's voice was flat. She hired a private investigator to follow me. She had someone clone my phone. She created fake message threads between Ryan and me. She photoshopped images from a company retreat, do you remember? The one where Ryan and I ended up on the same team building exercise? He did remember. Serena had come home laughing about how awkward it had been. How Ryan kept trying to make small talk about Hansel. How she'd felt bad for him because everyone knew they weren't close. She used photos from that day. Serena continued. Changed the metadata. Made it look like they were taken over months. Made it look like Ryan and I were having an affair. But Ryan, Hansel's voice caught. Ryan admitted it, did he? Serena's eyes locked on his. Or did he just not deny it when you accused him? You believed what you saw, Serena said softly. Anyone would have. No, he stood abruptly, pacing the small room. No, someone who loved you, really loved you, would have listened. Would have given you a chance to explain. I was so angry, so hurt, that I wanted you to be guilty. I wanted you to have betrayed me because it was easier then. Then what? Then believing I wasn't enough. The words burst from him. Then believing you might have just fallen out of love with me naturally. At least if you cheated, there was a reason. A villain? Something external I could blame. Serena reached for him. Hansel, you were always enough. You were everything. He turned to her, this woman he loved and hated and never stopped thinking about. Why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you go to the police, prove the photos were fake? I tried. Her voice was bitter. But Victoria was smart. She covered her tracks. The pie she hired was paid in cash. The phone cloning was done through a guy who disappeared. Without solid evidence, it was just my word against circumstantial evidence. And you know how that looks, the desperate ex-girlfriend making wild accusations. Marcus knew. You told Marcus. Marcus suspected. But he had no proof either. And when he tried to talk to you, I told him to stay the hell out of my life. Hansel remembered that conversation. Remembered Marcus's desperate attempts to get him to listen. Remembered cutting him off, blocking his number too. You shut everyone out, Serena said. You built walls so high that no one could reach you. And Victoria! She was there to fill the void. We're not together, Hansel said quickly. I know, a sad smile. Because despite everything, you're a good man, Hansel Harris. You don't use people. But she's waiting, isn't she? Waiting for you to finally be ready. He couldn't answer because it was true. Victoria had made her interest clear over the past year. Casual touches, meaningful looks, invitations to dinners that felt like dates. And he'd been considering it. Considering finally moving on. She's been playing a 3-year-long game, Serena whispered. And she almost won. Where's your proof? Hansel asked. You say all this, but where's your evidence? Serena reached for the bedside table, wincing with the effort. She pulled out an envelope. Marcus has been investigating. He never stopped believing me. He found the pie the man got religion, wanted to confess. He found the money trail. She paused. He found that Victoria tried to do the same thing to Rebecca. What? Marcus's fiancée, Rebecca, Victoria went after her too, about a year ago. Tried to create evidence of an affair. But Rebecca and Marcus communicate better than we did. She told him immediately about strange calls, weird encounters. They caught on before Victoria could complete her scheme. Hansel took the envelope with numb fingers. Inside were bank statements, signed affidavits, emails, evidence, proof. Truth. Double quotes. Why now? He asked hoarsely. Why wait until now to tell me? Because I didn't have the proof until 3 weeks ago. Marcus only tracked down the pie last month. And because she looked away. Because I was scared. Scared you'd think I was making it all up. Scared you'd reject me again. I couldn't survive that twice. So you said nothing? You were just going to let me go on thinking. I was trying to find the courage. She interrupted. I was going to come to Marcus's wedding. I was going to corner you there. Make you listen. But then she gestured at the hospital room. Then my body decided it had other plans. How long? The question he'd been avoiding. How long do you have? Serena's eyes filled with tears. They said weeks. Maybe a month. The cancer spread too fast. By the time they found it, it was everywhere. No, he dropped to his knees beside her bed again. No, there has to be treatment, options. I'll pay for anything. Go anywhere, Hansel. She cupped his face with one weak hand. It's too late. I've known for 6 months. I've been trying to get my affairs in order, trying to make peace with it. 6 months? You've been dealing with this alone for 6 months? I wasn't alone. Marcus has been there. Rebecca, my sister. Good people. But I needed. She swallowed hard. I needed you to know the truth before I go. I needed you to know that I loved you. That I never betrayed you. That you were the great love of my life. Hansel's chest felt like it was caving in. 3 years? He'd wasted 3 years hating her, avoiding her, refusing to listen. 3 years they could have had together. 3 years of memories they'd never make. I'm so sorry. He sobbed. God, Serena, I'm so sorry. I know. She stroked his hair gently. I know you are. What do I do now? How do I fix this? Her smile was sad. You don't. Some things are too broken to fix. But you can learn from it. You can be better next time. There won't be a next time. There's only you, sweet liar. She kissed his forehead weakly. You have so much life left to live. So much love to give. Don't waste it on guilt and regret. How can you be so calm? How can you forgive me so easily? Because I understand. Because I love you. Because being angry takes energy I don't have any more. She settled back into her pillows, exhausted. And because I know you'll do what needs to be done. What's that? Her eyes glinted with something fierce despite her weakness. Make Victoria pay. Chapter 3, Confrontation and Consequence. Hansel left the hospital with the envelope clutched in his hand and murder in his heart. Victoria Chen. The woman who'd destroyed his life. And she'd smiled while doing it. The woman who'd watched him suffer. Who'd comforted him through his pain. Who'd positioned herself as his savior while being the architect of his destruction. He drove to his office on autopilot, his mind spinning. It was 7 p.m., but he knew Victoria would still be there. She always stayed late, always positioned herself as his most dedicated employee. He found her in the conference room, papers spread before her, looking every inch the successful businesswoman. She glanced up when he entered, and her face lit up. Hansel, I didn't expect you back today. How did the meeting with the investors go? There had been no meeting with investors. He lied to everyone about where he was going. He'd been too ashamed to admit he was visiting Serena. We need to talk. He closed the door behind him. Something flickered in her eyes. Weariness? But her smile never wavered. Of course. What's going on? You look upset. I saw Serena today. The smile froze. Oh, how? How is she? Dying. He watched her face carefully. Was that genuine shock? Or feigned surprise? Stage 4 cancer. Weeks left. That's terrible. Victoria stood, moving around the desk toward him. I'm so sorry, Hansel. I know you two have history, and despite everything that happened, tell me about the history. Victoria, he pulled out the envelope. Tell me about what really happened. She stopped mid-stride. I'm not sure what you mean. The photos. The messages. The affair that never actually happened. Ring any bells? Hansel, don't. His voice was cold. Don't lie to me. Not now. I have statements from the private investigator you hired. Bank records showing your payments to him. Emails between you and the tech expert who cloned Serena's phone. Victoria's face paled, but she recovered quickly. Those could be forged. Serena is desperate. Serena is dying. He shouted. She has nothing to gain from this. She has no reason to lie except winning you back. Victoria's voice hardened. Think about it, Hansel. She's dying. She wants you to feel guilty, to come back to her. This is her last manipulation. You photoshopped the images. He pulled them out. These photos of Serena and Ryan at the company retreat. You changed the metadata to make them look like they were taken over months. You created fake text messages. You destroyed my relationship. You're not thinking clearly. Why? He stepped closer. Why did you do it? Victoria stared at him for a long moment. Then something in her broke. Her perfect composure cracked, and underneath was something raw and desperate because you were supposed to choose me. The words burst from her. We were perfect together. Same education, same ambitions, same world. But you chose her, some nobody from nowhere who didn't understand your potential, who would have held you back. She supported everything I did. She was beneath you. Victoria's eyes blazed. I could have helped you build an empire. Instead, you wasted 7 years on someone who worked in a nonprofit, who cared more about saving trees than making money. Don't talk about her like that. Why not? It's true. And you know what? You were better off without her. Look what you've built in 3 years. Look how far we've come together. You built nothing, Hansel said coldly. You bought your way in with dirty money and lies. You're a cancer, Victoria. You infected my life, destroyed the best thing in it, and you think you deserve credit? I deserve you. She grabbed his arms. I've loved you since college. I've waited years for you to see it. And I'm not sorry for what I did. I'd do it again to have you. He pulled away, disgusted. You'll never have me. And by tomorrow morning, you'll have nothing else either. What does that mean? It means I'm going to the police with this evidence. It means I'm going to every news outlet that will listen. It means I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you are. Fear finally entered her eyes. You can't. Think about the company. The scandal will destroy everything we've built. I don't care. And he realized it was true. The company, the money, the success, it all meant nothing compared to what he'd lost. You destroyed my life. Now I'm going to destroy yours. Hansel, please get out of this building. You have 1 hour before I call security. Get out of this building. You have 1 hour before I call security. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was trusting you. He opened the door. Get out. She left, her heels clicking on the marble floor, each step echoing in the empty office. Hansel waited until he heard the elevator ding before he collapsed into a chair. His hands were shaking. His heart was racing. And underneath it all was a crushing weight of grief. He'd found the truth. He'd confronted the villain. He'd won, but Serena was still dying. And no amount of revenge could change that. Chapter 4. The final day, Hansel moved into the chair beside Serena's hospital bed and didn't leave for the next 3 weeks. He learned things he'd forgotten or maybe never known. That she hummed when she was nervous. That she liked grape juice better than orange. That she still slept on her left side, curled up like a question mark. He learned new things too. That cancer hurt in ways he couldn't imagine. That morphine made her say strange, beautiful things. That dying was both slower and faster than anyone expected. Marcus and Rebecca visited often, bringing food Serena couldn't eat and stories that made her laugh. Her sister, Caroline, came from Boston and stayed. Even Ryan showed up, hesitant and guilty, until Serena smiled at him and said, I never blamed you. I hope Hansel doesn't either. Hansel had hugged his brother for the first time in 3 years and told him he was sorry. They still had a long way to go, but it was a start. James came by, bringing work for Hansel to ignore. The scandal's broken, he said quietly one afternoon while Serena slept. Victoria's being investigated for fraud and corporate espionage. Her father's devastated. Good, Hansel said without heat. Revenge had lost its appeal. All he wanted was more time. One night, when the hospital was quiet and dark, Serena woke from a fitful sleep. Hansel? I'm here. He always was. Now. Tell me something. Something about the future. The future? Your future. After I'm gone. Tell me something good that's going to happen to you. He wanted to say nothing good would happen. That his future was a gray, empty wasteland without her. But she was looking at him with those eyes, and he couldn't lie. I'm going to start a foundation, he said slowly, for cancer research and environmental causes. All the things you cared about. She smiled. That's good. What else? I'm going to fix things with Ryan, really fix them. Maybe we'll never be close, but we'll be brothers again. Better. What else? I'm going too. I'm going to try to forgive myself. Someday, good. She squeezed his hand weakly. And Hansel? Eventually, you're going to fall in love again. No, you will. With someone kind and genuine. Someone who deserves you. And when you do, don't run from it. Don't let fear make you cruel. Promise me. Serena, promise me. Her voice was urgent, desperate. Promise me you'll let yourself be happy. I promise. He whispered, tears streaming down his face. I promise. She relaxed back into the pillows. Thank you for what? For coming back. For listening. For loving me enough to stay. I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. I know. Her smile was radiant despite her dying body. I always knew 2 days later, with the morning sun streaming through the window and Hansel's hand clasped in hers. Serena Page took her last breath. She died peacefully, with no pain, surrounded by everyone who loved her. As deaths go, it was as gentle as anyone could hope. It still shattered Hansel's world. Epilogue, 1 year later. Serena Page Foundation for Cancer Research and Environmental Conservation opened its doors on a rainy Tuesday morning. Hansel stood on the steps, looking up at the building, a converted warehouse they'd transformed into offices, labs, and community spaces. Serena would have loved it. You ready? Marcus asked beside him. He'd agreed to sit on the board, along with Rebecca, James, and Caroline. Yeah, Hansel smiled. I am inside. The walls were covered with photos of Serena, of course, but also of all the people her foundation would help. Cancer patients receiving free treatment, environmental projects saving endangered habitats, young activists getting grants to pursue their dreams. Victoria Chen was in prison, serving 5 years for fraud. Her company had been dissolved, her reputation destroyed. Hansel barely thought about her anymore. Revenge, he learned, was poor consolation for loss, but this work, this purpose, this legacy, this was something real. She'd be proud of you, Caroline said, appearing at his elbow. You know that, right? I hope so, I know so. She handed him a box. I've been meaning to give you this. I found it in her apartment after, well, she left it for you. Inside was a letter in Serena's handwriting. Shaking, Hansel opened it. My dearest Hansel, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. And it means you kept your promise. You're living, you're working, you're making a difference. I'm so proud of you. I know you're sad. That's okay. That's love. But don't let sadness become your identity. Don't let my death be the defining moment of your life. Remember the good times. Remember the laughter, the adventures, the lazy Sunday mornings, and the wild Friday nights. Remember that we were happy once. Let that be enough. And when you're ready, not now, but someday, let yourself love again. You have so much love to give, Hansel Harris. Don't hoard it out of loyalty to me. Give it freely, give it fully, give it to someone who will cherish it. I'll be watching, wherever I am. And I'll be smiling, all my love, always and forever. Sarah Knapp, S. There's a safe deposit box at First National Bank, box 2847. The key is taped to the back of this letter. Inside is something I've been saving for you. Something that was always meant to be yours. Hansel's hands trembled as he peeled back the letter and found a small silver key. He went to the bank that afternoon. Inside the safe deposit box was a smaller box, velvet and worn. The ring box he'd given her 10 years ago when he'd proposed in the rain. But inside wasn't her engagement ring. It was a different ring, a man's wedding band. Engraved with words in her handwriting, love always finds a way back. He slipped it onto his finger, and for the first time in a year, Hansel Harris felt something other than grief. He felt hope. 6 months later, Hansel was leaving the foundation office late one evening when he literally ran into someone coming through the door. Oh, I'm so sorry. The woman stumbled, and he caught her arm. No, that was my fault. I wasn't looking. He stopped. She was beautiful. Dark hair, bright eyes, a smile that was apologetic and amused all at once. She held a clipboard and wore a volunteer badge. I'm here for the orientation? She said, am I too late? No, it's just ending. But I can catch you up if you want. I'm Hansel, Claire. She shook his hand. Her grip was firm, confident. I just moved to Seattle. I've heard incredible things about this foundation. What you're doing for cancer research is amazing, they talked as he showed her around. She asked intelligent questions. She laughed at his jokes. And when she smiled, something in Hansel's chest loosened, something that had been tight and locked for so long he'd forgotten what breathing freely felt like. Would you like to get coffee sometime? The words came out before he could stop them. To talk more about the foundation, I mean. We're always looking for dedicated volunteers. Claire's smile widened. I'd like that. As she left, Hansel looked down at the ring on his finger. Love always finds a way back. Thank you, he whispered to the woman who wasn't there. Thank you for everything. Somewhere, he liked to think, Serena was smiling. If this story touched you, please take a moment to share it with someone who needs to hear it. We all know someone carrying the weight of unspoken truths, nursing wounds that might not be what they seem. Sometimes a story can open doors that direct words cannot. Remember to listen. In our rush to protect our hearts, we sometimes build walls that keep out the very explanations we need. When someone you love tries to speak, give them the gift of your attention. Choose courage over fear. Hansel's greatest regret wasn't loving Serena, it was letting fear and pride silence her truth. Don't let your own story end with what if. Forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. We all let anger cloud our judgment. The question isn't whether we'll hurt people we love, but whether we'll do the work to make it right. Most importantly, if you're living with a truth untold, find a way to speak it. Life is shorter than we think. Cancer, accidents, the simple passage of time, any of these can steal our chance to say what needs saying. Don't wait until it's too late. And if you're the one who needs to listen, open your heart, even when it's terrified. The truth might hurt, but regret hurts forever. Share the story. Save it. Send it to someone who needs its message. Because somewhere out there, there's a Hansel who needs to hear his Serena's truth, and there's still time. Love always finds a way back. If we're brave enough to let it.